It's a Conspiracy is a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, locally grown and community supported. For other fun programming, please check out the albertapodcastnetwork.com, where you can find shows like Loyal Company of the River Valley.
Okay, so welcome back, everyone, to It's a Conspiracy. This is the podcast where we lay out the beliefs behind selected conspiracy theories, alternative accounts, legends, myths, and more. I'm your host, Andrew, and I do not claim to be an expert on anything we're going to discuss today, and will probably be wrong about everything because this is our karaoke special. It's later than I think I've ever recorded. It's not. It's like 11, which is after.
You're getting the feel.
It's appropriate for karaoke, right? Because karaoke doesn't get started till later.
Now, as always, if you'd like to see where we found the banged up microphones that smell like beer, then please do take a look at the notes in the episode description. Charlie spends his days workshopping his Freddie Mercury impressions, and it would just be noble of you to appreciate the majesty of his character and effort, slaving through putting in those links, and that's always super appreciated. And we are a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network. Yay team, yay friends, yay squad. You can check us out at itsconspiracypodcast.com, our Twitter at Is It a Conspiracy, that's run by the social media influencer The Irish Madman, our Facebook group, our Instagram page, It's a Conspiracy Podcast, that's run by Greg, and then our email and our Patreon page, patreon.com/It's a Conspiracy. All right, now joining the online distance communication time today are my dear friends Kendra Klassen Hunt and Naomi Carmack from Dope Nostalgia. Oh
yeah.
Man, so I feel like this is so like overdue for me because I'm like, I've been listening to your podcast for a while, and then I'm like, I've read some of the ads and done some of the jingles. I'm like,
I've done the jingle.
I've been on your podcast, but not
absolutely. Really. You're the moment of Greg jingle. Oh, yes. It's so good, man.
It's a good jingle.
These
I had so much fun with that one. I think I laughed so hard afterwards.
It's funny you should say that because I'm actually going to steal the Wikipedia jingle from Naomi for this episode. I hope that's okay. I was going to ask later on, but we're asking on air now. Now these virtuous, wholesome ladies, they're going to interject as they see fit, and I just appreciate their online digitally distanced company so much. We're doing this on Zoom, so it's like, hey, we're back in the lockdown days. Like, it's kind of fun and little, yeah.
It's nostalgic.
A little nostalgic, yeah. Feeling like late 2021 in here. Okay. Now, superstars, can you guys tell me with a yes or no? Can you two tell me if you're familiar with these topics here? Okay, so number one, the weird history of karaoke.
No.
Okay, all right. Number two, tips for karaoke from Naomi and Kendra.
Yes.
Okay.
I wrote that book.
And then number three, I don't want to give this away, so this is going to be a bit of mystery. But what are we singing?
No.
And it's going to be.
It's going to be a thrill.
It's going to be a thrill. Absolutely. I would tell you, but that would just take away from the fun. So our first subject here, subject number one, is going to be the weird history of karaoke. No, God. All right. Karaoke. Now, I'm certainly not, I should not be the one reading this here. I'm not anyone to correct anyone's pronunciation. Like I mispronounce everything all the time. I can barely say the word pronounce, but this is a Japanese word that everyone really does say incorrectly. So in Japanese, it's karaoke. So when everyone here knows it is karaoke, and it's like a completely different sound. Karaoke. So
and that's why everybody spells it wrong too.
That totally, absolutely. It's like, yeah, karaoke. The word translates to empty orchestra. So kara means empty, and okay is like okerastra for some, like when they take an English word and katakana.
I used to hear people say that karaoke meant tone deaf in Japanese, but that's not true.
I knew it was empty orchestra. I remember
empty orchestra.
Hearing
absolutely.
It way back in the day.
And there's no such thing as tone deaf in karaoke. I mean, I'm sure we can like.
That's just a conspiracy.
At least if you have enough beers, then you can't hear the difference, anyways.
So there's so much to this. It's only been around since about the 70s, but in that short amount of time, there's been some amazing things that have happened. So we're basically going to start in kind of the late 60s, early 70s, and come basically up to about 2022 with some weird stuff, some stuff that you guys might already know, some things that are a little unfamiliar. So, for example, in the 1960s, there was a string of shows such as Sing Along with Mitch, where orchestras would play instrumental versions of songs and the lyrics would be put on the screen for people to sing along with at home. So it's like, all right, kids, gather around the television. We're all going to sing a song. And they put up like a bunch of Roger Miller lyrics. I think that is fantastic. That should come back.
That would be so much fun. And
so much fun.
Your family would totally have fun, especially if you're a singing family, which I definitely am from.
Yeah, it's amazing, right? And then maybe you hear your neighbors singing next door instead of yelling at each other for a change. It's kind of nice. You're like, oh, a little change of pace. That's good. 1971. So there's a small snack bar. So a snack bar in Japan is like a little kind of pub that would serve small amounts of food and you get a drink, and they call them snacks sometimes. But a snack bar in Kobe, there was a band that was hired. It didn't show. And so rather than have an empty stage, the manager was like, well, we'd better just play some instrumental versions of songs, and whoever's here, we'll just get them to come on up. And it ended up being a full house that night. And they just kind of had people coming on up and singing songs all night. So this idea was such a hit that the guy doing the musician bookings, and this is going to hit a little close to the heart for the three of us, was like, we're just going to cancel the musicians for the rest of the year and do this karaoke thing instead. It wasn't called karaoke at the time, but they were like, yeah, we're done with the live music thing because this is, I hate to say the word.
Bar owners have tried to keep tradition up to this day.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
It's, that's a sensitive nerve right there. But yeah, so this became the norm for this particular bar. And it got so popular that a local amateur musician named Daisuke Inoue invented the first karaoke machine, and he called it something called the 8 Juke. But it was basically a stereo, an amplifier, a microphone, and of course, a coin collector. So people would put their money in, pick a song, sing it. And his shtick was like, he's like, I'll play the chords to this song on my keyboard. You guys go ahead and sing along. And that was his whole thing in his performances. So he kind of recorded himself and then put it through this stereo, setting the trend for karaoke machines. Unfortunately, this guy did not patent his design. And the idea for the karaoke machine was stolen from him by a guy from the Philippines named Robert Del Rosario in 1975. And this, I know. And we're going to talk about that in a second. Because Rosario, yeah, I know, in an Edmonton connection there, which is amazing.
That's hilarious.
This has led to the urban myth that karaoke was actually invented in the Philippines, but it was happening in Japan for like about 10 years ish before it was happening in the Philippines, according to like what people have said. So Inoue lost millions from this patent theft. Like the karaoke industry is worth billions. And his machine, he probably lost billions, really, when we're going to look at it. Like his machine kind of is at the corner of it all. But amazingly, in 2004, he was awarded a Nobel Peace Prize for his invention. People were like, okay, it's about time this guy gets credit. And then Time magazine named him as one of the most influential Asians of the century. They were like, this guy has changed entertainment, which I think I would agree with. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, karaoke is such a big like staple entertainment in the bars, especially here, like in Alberta specifically, like across Canada. Like it's insane how many bars have it here.
It's crazy.
To some other ones.
I've been told that Edmonton has the most karaoke per capita of all of North America.
I believe it.
Probably because we're a frozen wasteland 9 months of the year. It gives us something to do indoors. But I've heard that to be very true. And in the traveling I've done to cities like Chicago, New York, San Francisco, you go looking for a karaoke, and the only ones they seem to have are the ones with the karaoke rooms.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the karaoke rooms. Absolutely. You get the little rooms. But so other cities you've gone to don't have like a bar full of people doing karaoke in front of everyone?
Not a lot.
It's very hard to find. In a city like Manhattan, I thought it would be easy to find, and it was not.
Well, it's also very telling too, because like I've been a part of helping like organize and judge the Karaoke World Championships for the last 5 years.
What?
And oh yeah, yeah. And it's very telling like on which provinces are really, really huge on karaoke based on the amount of competitors they send each year to nationals. And there's some provinces that don't send at all because I don't think it's really, really big there.
This is wild.
Yeah.
I knew you guys were into karaoke, but I didn't realize you were in with the World Championship people. So this is
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
This is good. So 1982, a couple years after the machine was invented, or stolen, I guess you could say, by Rosario in 1975. 1982, the very first karaoke bar opens up in North America. So the entire continent, it had never happened. This little place opens up in Los Angeles, and just everyone goes crazy. It spreads through the entire continent. So they pop up all over the place in Canada and the States and Mexico. And within a year, places like England, China, India, South Africa, and in particular, the Philippines just went karaoke crazy. And a few short years later, wow, during the 90s, the best time, karaoke boxes, which are basically private rooms for a smaller group of people, they became increasingly popular in Japan. And this made it possible for friends to perform for each other. And honestly, I've seen this myself. It's very strange. A lot of concerned employees are like, man, I've got to nail my song at the staff party this year. Like the Christmas party's coming up. I gotta crush my song. So they'll go into these places and practice. And it's a big part of their business, right? So you can get your own private room, you get some friends in there. And it sounds like maybe the bigger cities that Naomi was looking at in the States, it's kind of the norm where you have like 5 or 6 people crammed into a little room singing songs for each other, as opposed to the entire bar, which is kind of what we do here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Generally.
Generally.
We have a couple of those places in our city, at least, that do have the offer the karaoke room, the private experience like that, where you rent the room for the per hour. But the majority of karaoke in Edmonton is in a bar and everyone's watching. Kind of deal. Yeah.
It's intense. It's super intense. Mm-hmm. And the kind of crazy thing about these karaoke boxes is that was the advent of people having their own karaoke rooms in their homes.
Yeah.
Which would be an amazing little addition. Like, here's my living room. Here's my karaoke room.
I totally had a freestanding like karaoke like box with a screen on it when I was younger. And you could just throw the CDs in and sing right off of the machine.
That's high tech.
2003, the very first Karaoke World Championships were held in Finland and had contestants from 7 countries. This contest has now grown to feature artists from over 30 countries from all over the world. And the categories include best singer. They don't really do the gender thing anymore. They're not like, oh, it's the best male, it's the best female. They just do singers.
A couple years ago they changed it. Yeah.
Which is great, which is very progressive. And they do things like best duets, which is awesome. The rules, according to the website that I was looking at here, which will be in the episode description. So the rules are: you are not a professional musician, kind of like the Olympics, I guess. You don't have any management or label support. You must be at least 18. You must have lived in the country you were representing for at least 3 years. And you're judged on voice and technique, artistry, and stage presence. And this was their wording, the X factor. The X factor is always the hard, thing to put your finger on. I think we know what the X factor is in a sense, but like, voice technique, we understand what that is. Stage presence, we understand what that is. But I mean, it's hard to be objective about the X factor. That's kind of the star power.
No,
right?
And if that's the same website, which I had said I'm a part of the Karaoke World Championships team, judging criteria is a lot more in depth when you look into the actual like judging criteria. The stage presence is one thing, but also artistry and your originality on your song and how you make it your own, and just your overall like presence for everybody and how you interpret the song. And you get some pretty phenomenal singers in that competition.
It's crazy. The guy that does the Oilers, like the anthem for the Oilers, was down at Naomi's karaoke the one night, which was amazing.
Yeah, he was. What's his name? Robert something?
Hey, Cy. Sorry, just a quick editor's note here. The anthem singer for the Oilers is Mr. Robert Clark.
Yeah, fantastic. He sang like Ave Maria, and
He sang Ave Maria. Wow,
Ave Maria at karaoke on a Friday night, and the whole room is just staring at him like. And of course, coming up to talk to him after because he is the anthem singer.
Yeah,
but yeah, you'll get some impressive star power come out to karaoke once in a while.
That's wild. And that all sounds very, very fun. And this is obviously before the murders started.
Wikipedia moment.
Karaoke murders. So the murders have been happening in the last couple of years. Yeah, the karaoke murders. I don't know if you guys have heard of this or not, but basically
there's a
everything
few people I'd like to murder, but I would never. I would never.
Yeah, one of the bars I played at quite often, they called it Scarioke because it was like, oh, it's Sunday, so it was like a very peaceful couple decades, and then kind of things just went dark for the last little bit. So in the Philippines, it has been said that around a dozen people have been murdered while singing the song "My Way," like the Frank Sinatra. Yeah. So it's got a bit. I know it's got an aggressive message. It's got a bit of an agenda, maybe something kind of subliminal. But people have been, it's happened so often that the police in the Philippines are like, oh, we got a My Way killing, like they've got it on like an APB, like everyone knows what a My Way killing is. And unfortunately, this is not unique to the Philippines. 2008, a man at a Malaysian coffee shop hogged the karaoke microphone so long that he was stabbed to death by other patrons. And yes, that's extreme, but I think we've all been in that scenario, and you're like, somebody else better get on that mic, or I'm gonna have to do something about this. And you know,
that's why you really watch which bars you go to sing karaoke in. Really.
Yeah, you got to be careful. You got to take a look around the room, be like, is anybody holding a knife? Anybody?
Wear your Under Armour.
There's so many other songs I would rather stab people over than My Way. Wow.
Yeah. I've got songs that I would not veer into, and that one, I don't even think I've heard anyone sing that song before, but
it gets done quite a bit.
Oh yeah,
it does.
Yeah, it's popular.
So a few months later, 2008, once again, a man was arrested in Thailand for murdering 8 people to death. So this was after a dispute stemming from several karaoke offerings, including repeated renditions of "Take Me Home, Country Roads" from Mr. Sunshine on My Goddamn Shoulders, John Denver. So he just had enough. Wow. He's like, all right, all 8 of you are dead. He murdered all those people. So that's including his own brother-in-law, I think was what the article said. So
holy shit.
People
they
take
should
this seriously.
Make a movie about that, because I could just picture that whole scene with Country Roads being played in the background, just like, so, opposite of what's happening.
Totally a nice peaceful song and people just being murdered in a karaoke room. Yeah, just
killing people. He doesn't like the song.
August 2012, a fight over a microphone broke out in a Chinese karaoke parlor, and it ended up with a man killing 2 people with a meat cleaver. So I'm like, was this like a people? Totally, but it's like a butcher shop / karaoke parlor. And once again, I mean, that is extreme, but we have all had that thought. Like, my karaoke experience is not as much as you two, but I've been in karaoke and been like, wow, if I had a cleaver right now, I would attack someone. Like, I've enough is enough. July 2013, an American was stabbed to death for refusing to stop singing in a karaoke bar in in Thailand. Krabi, Newfoundland is what I almost said. Krabi, Thailand. And it doesn't say here, but I'm assuming that this is probably John Denver related as well. It just seems to be a common theme. Or maybe My Way. It's hard to say. And then in March 2022, just a couple months ago, Ezra Miller, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Ezra Miller, but
I've heard that name lately.
So Ezra Miller is the actor who they are going by the pronoun they now.
Okay.
So they were the actor who played the Flash in Justice League, which was Super Troubled Productions.
That was an amazing show, but that's another conversation.
Totally. But like it was just problematic productions. And then there was the whole like release the Snyder Cut, and then the Snyder Cut came out and they'd had a bigger role in the movie. But the new Flash movie, it's turning out that Ezra Miller is such a bloody scabby dauber that the movie's kind of being delayed and reshot, maybe canceled. It's hard to say. Anyways, They were arrested and charged with disorderly conduct after getting into altercations with attendees of a karaoke bar in Hawaii. So Ezra Miller allegedly, this is what the story is, lunges at a guy playing darts and grabs darts, and like this woman was singing probably a John Denver song and like grabs the darts and is like threatening this woman with the darts and like starts choking her, and people are like, what, call the cops, Ezra Miller's gone crazy. It's insane. So yeah,
I had no idea that this was
Ezra Miller has had a rough 2 to 5 years. It's been hard. So there's all kinds of problems happening there. And that isn't even the most recent thing, but that was karaoke related. So yeah. Now some people would say that troubles will follow you wherever you're serving alcohol, but yeah, I mean,
maybe it's karaoke.
It's karaoke. Yeah, wherever you're doing karaoke, it's you're tempting the devil, because there's people that show up that don't drink, right? And we're going to talk about that in tips and tricks.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, that's a very brief and odd history of karaoke. Now that is going to take us to our section on
what are we drinking?
So what we're basically going to do is be like, this is what I'm drinking and I'm just going to share it with you guys. So I'll go ahead and do this first here. I got myself a little hard to see.
Very interesting.
So of course it's written backwards, but
that's a good name.
Yeah, totally. Sea Change. They have a new line of like coolers out, and they're called Shitties. So SHIDDY apostrophe S. And it's like a gluten-free vodka cooler. It's awesome. It's like tonic water and some vodka with chili and lime. I'm loving it, man.
Is it spicy?
It's not spicy. I'm loving it. Oh. There's also like an Earl Grey with blueberries, which I'm like, wow, like
interesting. I totally want to try that.
Mm-hmm.
I love Sea Change, which I'm so glad I got to go and check it out over the weekend. That was great. Got to hang out there, which is very, very cool. And it's awesome. It's so new, in fact, that they don't even have a website up, which is getshitty.com. Which is a great, but they don't have any like funny names up or anything like that. Like it's very new. It's like 100 calories a can, you know.
So I would drink 10 cans and it's only 1,000 calories.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay,
way better than beer. That's for sure.
Oh man,
double.
I don't think there's anything as bad as beer, really, to be honest.
But of course, that's the one I love.
That's a problematic relationship. But yeah, so Naomi, what have you? Are we drinking?
Well, today I'm drinking my favorite cider, Summersby, but I'm drinking the Summersby red rhubarb flavor.
Oh my goodness.
This is unbelievably good because it's not as sweet. It's a little more tart. Obviously, the flavor of rhubarb will do that. And I thought it was just going to be a seasonal a couple of years ago, but it's still around, this flavor. So get
rhubarb.
Probably one of my favorite drinks there are.
Nice.
Beat that, Charlie and Greg.
We got some good drinks going on. It's gonna be hard to beat.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
In your Earl's glass. Where did you get that?
It's in my belly.
Yeah. So Kendra, what have you got there?
I have local breweries, the Mandalorian.
That's Alley Cat, isn't it?
Alley Cat, yep.
Nice.
This is one of my favorite summer beers. This is the way to a perfect summer brew. A little hoppy, a lot of fruit. This mango ale is refreshing and tasty. The tropical mango aroma will take you to a beach faster than you can say Mandalorian. I really like the fruity beers in the summertime.
Absolutely. And Mandalorian. Oh, man. And that is going to take us to ad number 1.
Hello, I'm Elizabeth Bonkink.
I'm Andrew Paul.
And we're the hosts of the Well Endowed Podcast.
The Well Endowed Podcast is produced by Edmonton Community Foundation, or ECF as we call it.
ECF provides grants to charities through the endowment funds we create and manage with our donors.
Hence the title of our show, The Well Endowed Podcast.
Every month, we bring you a collection of stories and interviews with fascinating guests who are working to make Edmonton a strong, vibrant city to live in.
Through these stories, we look at the space where endowments intersect with your communities.
So if you're interested in the people and issues impacting your community, check out thewellendowedpodcast.com.
Okay, so we're back. We have got hot tips, hot takes, hot damn for karaoke from Naomi and Kendra. So basically what I was thinking here was I thought we'd get 2 or 3 hot, whatever you guys want to share. So tips for singers, for hosts, for venues, etc. whatever that you two think that people need to make it successful. Because you both have an extensive experience as hosts and performers and world championship organizers. So like, what do people need to know when they're coming in to do this?
Well, I could be starting that off for you. I have a few etiquette tips.
Okay.
One of them being one that's very important to me is we want to make you sound your best when you're there. But part of that onus is on you as well by how you hold the microphone. If you're holding a microphone with your hand wrapped around the ball of the microphone, you're basically cutting off what the diaphragm does inside, how it moves so it can do its job and amplifying you and making you sound good. You end up sounding like you're talking through the McDonald's drive-through when you hold a microphone like that. You'll see rappers do it and you'll see famous singers do it and you'll see it all the time. And then that's why they think it looks cool to hold a mic like that. But they don't realize that these guys have their own sound guys.
And thousands of dollars worth of equipment.
And they know exactly how they're going to do it and they can make the sound right. But the karaoke host does a very general mix for everybody, right? Turn up the highs, turn down the lows, whatever the voice needs. But we can't make you sound like a superstar if you're cupping a mic. So I always recommend people to, just hold it by the shaft, not the ball.
I love using that joke too.
Yeah. And another thing I recommend is if you're putting in your songs and you think it's cool, cool. Have a stage name, make something really funny and great, but keep your name the same throughout the whole night or else we just think you're another person and it messes up the rotation. So don't be like coming in there with the name George and then the next song you put in, you're like Turd Ferguson. And then the next one, you're like Donna Joe Broccoli or whatever, you just keep your name the same and it'll make everything run smoothly. Lastly, too, if you want to be nice to your DJ and give your DJ a little break, when you sing a song like Paradise by the Dashboard Light, that DJ has a good 9 to 10 minutes where they can get a bathroom break in.
Nice.
They could go for a cigarette if they choose or a vape, whatever they like to do, but it gives them a little moment to run away. But the most important thing I think is that you make noise for all the singers, not, even the bad ones, because it's really hard to make yourself vulnerable and put yourself out there as a singer. One of the most vulnerable things you can do is vocalize in front of people. So just clap for everybody and make noise because it feels really sad when you've just finished singing a song and no one's clapping.
Oh, that would be so awkward. Oh,
and it happens. And it's so awkward.
It
and
happens
the host
a lot,
the host will be like trying to get the people to clap. Like, come on, it's awkward.
And some of them will use the automatic clapping like noise.
I hate that.
It doesn't make it any better.
I think canned applause, I think is just, I hate that. Don't like it. But yeah, those are some of my tips to encourage you and your karaoke journey.
I have some tips from the host perspective. If you're an aspiring host and want to learn more about how to make your show really popular and get the best out of like not only just the business for the bar, but also just getting the best kind of patrons that you want to follow your shows. Because usually if you get good patrons at one bar and you work at another one, they're going to follow you. And then you end up with a little following. As we know, some of our very popular hosts in the city, anywhere they go, their patrons are going to totally follow them. Yeah, the first thing, first and foremost, that I think any host would want to try is be mindful of the vibe and the energy that you're creating, because you are kind of creating that energy yourself because you're the voice of the show and you're the one that's putting forth that energy. So if you sound like you're kind of bored on the microphone, all right, up next we have Naomi. Naomi is singing a song for you. There we go. They're not going to sound very excited, and the rest of the bar is not going to probably respond very well to that. Secondly, another huge tip for any aspiring host: learn your way around the soundboard and make sure that like you really get to know how to mix each and every singer that comes up. And that's going to be good for like several reasons, because if you have good sound at your show, you're going to bring a lot of the good singers out, which it's great to have any kind of singer. Some of my favorite singers that have ever come to one of my shows has been like, some of them are terrible singers, but they just have a blast and have so much like good energy that they put out there. But the good singers are also going to bring out the listeners as well. And if you bring out good singers and listeners, you're going to have a full packed bar, and then it's going to make the bar happy as well because they're making money all around. Thirdly, I think fairness is a big part of like running a really good show and making sure that you're being fair to all the customers. If you got somebody coming up and singing 5 times before someone else sings one song, it doesn't make it enjoyable for every. Yeah, it doesn't make it fair for everybody, right? You want to make sure that everybody gets their turn, but everybody's also having a lot of fun.
So in your opinion, do you think it's like, I mean, this gets into performance, but do you think that it's actually about vocal talent, or is it more just about like a willingness to put yourself out there, like confidence, I guess you could say?
I think it's about like what karaoke is not necessarily about being a good singer for sure. Because the thing is like Naomi said, it is a very vulnerable scenario, and you are putting on a performance, whether you're completely trashed while doing it, or if you're up there and being like quite a serious and well-taught singer. It's a very vulnerable position to be in. So it's definitely, it can be a really great experience for people all around, just getting up there and building that confidence, regardless of the type of singer they are. But looking at it from a business standpoint, you want to try and bring out as many types of people. And if you only have singers you have a really hard time listening to, sometimes the people that are just hanging out in the bar might not stay. So having those few people that can sing in your show, it does help, I think.
Yeah. I don't know. Naomi, what do you think on that? Do you think it's like entertainment value over vocal talent, or like what's your
overall? Yeah. Overall, I find that people are also, they care more about listening to songs they know as an audience. Like they get more invested in songs that they all can sing along to sitting in their chair. Like when Journey comes on and Don't Stop Believing, the whole crowd freaks out, right?
Oh man.
So
absolutely.
There's that, or you could do a completely obscure song and nobody's really paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
Just depends, right? So yeah.
Is it a thing where oh sorry, yeah, go ahead.
No, I just think I think people are more invested in the party mode of it a lot of the time too, for a general audience. Oh, and also like if you put a bunch of songs back to back that are all ballads and slow, some people, I don't know, sometimes it can kill the energy of the room a little bit. Just depends. If the singers are really good though, it's highly entertaining. But just having a bunch of like really slow songs in a row can be kind of party killer a little bit.
Do you have someone who's like say I show up and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna sing some Journey tonight, here we go, and then they're like, oh buddy, sorry, you can't do that, that's that's Jimmy White's song or whatever, you know what I mean, like not to we got a buddy
nobody's allowed to sing Friends in Low Places except our buddy.
So is that a real thing though? Like if you show up and you're like, oh, I'm gonna sing whatever, Don't Stop Me Now, and they're like, well, that song belongs to like so and so. Is that a thing?
First come, first serve.
Come, first serve. Okay, cool.
Yep.
You guys are both cool with that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If you think you're gonna come in at 1:00 and be like, I want to sing this song, and that person was there 3 hours ago and sang it already, you snooze, you lose.
Yeah. So no repeats then. Like if it's already been done, we don't do it again.
I personally don't like to, just because like typically, especially the bar that we both like frequent and have worked at, there's like well over 30,000 songs. I'm sure you can find one other one that
you can find another one.
That's the only song I know.
Oh,
really? People will say stuff like that. Like honestly, it's just I love my job. I don't have to drink to get through it, I swear.
Well, that's very cool. I'm really glad that you guys share that. That's very, very cool. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That is going to take us to advertisement number 2.
This episode of It's a Conspiracy is brought to you by Alberta Blue Cross. Life as a business owner can be hectic to say the least. Alberta Blue Cross understands that. They offer flexible health, dental, life, and disability coverage for your employees. Even better, you can let your staff enroll and manage their coverage at any time and on any device. That makes life easier for them and for you. You've got this when it comes to group coverage for your small business, and Alberta Blue Cross has got your back. To learn more and explore your options, head to ab.bluecross.ca.
Okay, now we are back. So here is our third subject. I have not shared with you guys what we're going to do here. I don't even know how this is going to work because I'm hoping the audio is going to go through. I'm sure it'll be just fine. So
it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be a fun little adventure. So we'll listen to a little bit of this, and we're just gonna come in on the chorus. So I know you guys will know this song, and when the song starts, we'll be like, "Oh, I know this." And if we don't know it, then whatever. Just sing what your heart tells you to sing.
So we don't sing till we get to the chorus?
We don't sing till we get to the chorus.
I'm so excited.
Are you guys seeing this here?
Oh, really? I don't think I've ever seen this.
So we totally got this, right?
Sure. We're gonna own this.
Oh man. And this song just speaks to my heart in so many ways, right?
Isn't that MIDI?
Monday. Wish it was
Sunday. 'Cause that's my fun day. I don't have to run day. Just another manic Monday.
Oh, man.
Timing, eh? Wow.
I know. I was trying so hard to concentrate. Like, am I even singing this right?
I feel like I'm like 5 seconds ahead in the now I gotta turn this damn thing off.
I love those karaoke versions that sound like they were made on a MIDI keyboard.
Oh, they're hilarious.
Or a Casio keyboard, like
Casio.
Those like demos are amazing. So then secret between just us here that's gonna go out and however many people listen to this, what's your jam that you're gonna sing? If you go into like you're in San Francisco and you're like you find like a sweet karaoke joint, you're like, here we go, this is my number, boom, bring the house down.
It's probably going to be something by maybe like Roxette or like Bon Jovi or something like that. I don't know. Roxette is really, I like that a lot because I love Marie Fredrikson's voice. If I could have anyone's voice, it would be hers. So her songs are really fun for me to sing.
Yeah, Kendra, what's your banger? What's your number one? Your slam dunker.
Mine, it always changes to like the new song that I'm really digging. My most favorite song to sing right now is "Right on Time" by Brandi Carlile.
Oh,
she sang it last night. As soon as she hit the high note, everyone started clapping and screaming. Nice.
Yeah. I'm always looking for that new song that's gonna make me super excited. After singing, and well, I hosted karaoke for 17 years, and after a while, it's just like you sang a lot of different types of songs, and then like they kind of will lose that excitement factor, like after singing them like how many hundreds of times. So the new songs are always the ones that I'm gonna go to right now. And that's my jam right now.
When you said the song, what's it called again? Sorry.
It's called Right on Time.
Right on Time. I totally thought you were talking about that Lizzo song for a second. Like, in a minute, I'm gonna need a.
I love that's such a fun one too.
That's a great song.
TikTok all the time, and I'm like, but my thing is, I love to do it in like a ridiculous voice because I'm not that cool. So I'm like, in a minute, I'm gonna need a sentimental woman to pump me up. But I do this. And like in that kind of a funny voice to my wife and pretend I'm being really sexy while doing it. And it's not. I'm like, that would be my TikTok claim to fame is being like ridiculously non-sexy, trying to be sexy to that song.
Oh man, but that'll work. That's just it. Like when you're like, this isn't going to be sexy, but I'm just going to embrace it. And it's like, well, that's really sexy that you're so confident and just embracing that. You're like, ooh. Yeah.
Well, I've made one TikTok so far, so maybe that should be my second one.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you know which one's fun to sing too is the Richard Cheese version of "My Neck, My Back." I sing it like it's a jazz standard.
I love it.
I'm glad to hear that Richard Cheese is still around. That's good.
Yes.
Oh man,
you never go wrong with some Weird Al too.
What about your jam, Andrew?
So this is so hokey. Like my karaoke experience has been limited to when I was in Japan. It was like I tried to find some easy Japanese song to sing because my friends there would be like, "Oh, what? You could sing this?" So it was like a big, and I was probably mispronouncing everything. But if I get stuck here, my one is "Moon Dance" by Van Morrison, which is like
so
like,
cool.
I don't know if it's cool or not, but it's like, oh, I'll do this. And it's short. I always thought that karaoke hosts would want the short choice. I've never thought about like I can finally go to the bathroom. I've had to piss for like 6 hours. So yeah.
At the end of the night, I like the short ones because it means I can get more singers and then wrap up the show. You know?
Totally.
Yeah.
But when they put in like a 10-minute one at the end of the night and I'm trying to get all these people and I'm like,
Takes up two
oh,
songs.
this is rough. Yeah.
Oh.
You got to balance that out.
Yeah.
Trying to make everyone happy.
I was at a karaoke night. It was like maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and this girl was singing that waterfall song, and someone,
TLC?
yeah, that's right, the TLC song, and somebody ran up and grabbed the microphone from her and did the rap part, and then handed it back, and I was like, that's got to be a faux pas of some kind.
Oh, I've literally as a
it was
host,
crazy. It was crazy.
I've seen people do that where they go up to grab someone's microphone and I'll actually get out from behind the booth, go over and take it away from them and give it back to the person.
Nice.
It pisses me off so bad when people
Yeah.
don't do that.
Don't do that. Totally. That's when
Ooh,
you get the elbows out and you're like, boom, right in the throat.
Should we mention on the karaoke host's least favorite song?
Oh, please do.
There is a universal like hated karaoke song across.
This is amazing.
Any host will probably say the same song.
Okay. I'm so excited to hear this, you guys. Like,
should we do it at the same time?
Okay.
We'll count it down.
3,
Right?
2, 1. Picture.
oh,
Kid Rock and Sheryl Crow.
Ain't
This is a song that gets done every night, and it's usually somebody trying to pick up, a date. They'll be like, "Hey, girl, what's going on? You want to sing Picture with me?"
oof.
Okay. And then they do this song that's not even romantic.
Not at
It's
all.
just slow and sad and boring and kills the room.
Yeah.
Kills the room.
Well,
People are always telling me, "Oh, it's such a great song. Why don't you like it?" And I'm like, "Wait, every night.
Yeah.
Wow."
but like seriously, like I've been hosting for 17 years and it was the number one duet when I started hosting, and it would be played literally at every single show that I hosted and still to this day is. And I'm like, after a while, it's like, okay, enough is enough. There's got to be a new duet. And Shallow is starting to kind of be a runner-up. Starting to
Yeah.
be. That one's being played quite a lot.
Yeah,
I
it's a
like
hot
it better.
duet.
But yeah.
But
no,
then to keep
Picture-
things balanced and positive, it's always nice too when you do like a good crowd pleaser, like Sweet Caroline, like people love to sing along. Of course, Don't Stop Believing, or
Ugh.
girls just want to have fun. That's when all the woo girls get together and start screaming. Woo!
Ugh.
Girls just want to have fun. Yeah.
What's Up is a big one. That's been a big one at a lot of my shows for years.
Four Non-Blondes.
Yeah.
Good
What you were
stuff.
talking about, that is not an easy song to sing at all.
No, but
No.
a lot of people try.
Yeah,
A lot
totally.
of people try.
And you're like, I know you like that song, but do you realize what you're gonna do here? Yeah, you kind of feel like you're like the guy like just about to go on the roller coaster. You're like, I have you ever been on one of these before? Because it's like, you're probably gonna,
Should
shit
there be
yourself
like a
and throw up.
disclaimer?
Yeah.
before-
I'm just going to wish you great success with that.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to leave you hanging. I want to support you, but like you are stringing yourself up. But yeah, I mean, and those top notes, when someone's just shy of a top note, there's something truly like cringy about that. But they're putting themselves out there, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's all about the effort. So
make sure you clap for them.
that's right. If it's good or
Always.
not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Somebody once told me, and I don't know if I should admit this, but you should always clap because it's either you're clapping because you really enjoyed it or you're clapping because it's over.
Yeah.
All right, then, Belters. Thanks so much for swinging by and joining in the wonderful Smile Time. Season 5 is just around the corner, and we are really excited to share what we've got planned. We've got some theories, snacks, special guests, so much more. In the interim, please do feel free to check out the past casts and social medias at itsconspiracypodcast.com. If you want to subscribe, tell a friend, leave a review, order some merch, cool. If you don't want to do that, that's okay. You just pick the song you want to sing, Thank you so much to Naomi and Kendra for joining us tonight. That was really, really cool. It was so awesome to have you guys back on. I guess for the first time with Kendra, which thank you for coming in.
Oh no, thanks for having me. I'm so happy that you asked.
And Naomi, you got to tell us real quick about your podcast here so we can throw in a nice little shout out for that.
Sweet. Dope Nostalgia podcast where we talk to people who were big in the 90s and about them and their music careers. You can get it where all the good podcasts are served. Dope Nostalgia. Yay.
Nice.
Love it.
I just listened to the one on Silverchair. It was fantastic.
Yeah,
with,
good
with
episode.
Chonks and Quinn.
with Chunks and Quinn.
Yeah. My co-host.
Alrighty then.
Kendra's on it a lot too. She's also on Dope Nostalgia quite a bit.
I started calling myself the podcaster with no podcast because I just jump on everybody else's.
The Palcaster.
Yeah, I like that. Don't patent it. I'm gonna steal that.
No, you go ahead, take that. That's no problem at all. Yeah. All right. Well, anytime. We'd love to have you guys back because it always ends up being like guys just kind of blathering on, and people have been like, "Are you and Charlie the same guy?" And it's like one person talking to himself, or like what's happening there. So it's nice to have a bit of variety here.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Okay. So take care. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks.
But I forgot to pay. I can't look at you cause I'm passed out on the floor.
The 1990s. My very favorite decade, especially for music. This is Dope Nostalgia, and I'm your host, Naomi Carmack. And every week, we revisit the era that brought us Hammer Pants, Crystal Pepsi, Pogs, Hypercolor, Pokemon, and some of the greatest songs of all time. On Dope Nostalgia, not only do I have episodes where I talk about the big artists of the 90s with friends, but sometimes those big artists come on the show. Past guests include Naughty by Nature, George Lamond, Alana Miles, Color Me Bad, Biff Naked, Ed the Sock, Shakespeare's Sister, Two Unlimited, The Funky Bunch, Technotronic, Rosala, Tara Kemp, Mr. Big, Honeymoon Suite, Right Said Fred, and so many more. You can always leave us a voicemail and tell us what you think, and we'll play it on the show. 780-851-8785. Dope Nostalgia, a podcast made for 90s kids like me. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Music, Podbean, Stitcher, and wherever podcasts are served.